The calls you make for your baby today gon' still be hitting hard 20 years from now. Short-term loss turned into a long-term gain. That's the hustle. That's the work.
So as we enter the final stretch for Raising Kanan Season 2, there's a lot of tension across the board, from family matters to business on the streets. The relationship between Kanan and Rock seems to have taken a turn for the worst after Kanan opened the paternity results, and I can only see the distance growing even further in episode 9. I also think the relationship between Rock and Lou will also start to take a turn, because not only does Lou want out the street shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Famous blabs the results of Kanan's paternity results to Lou. But regardless, this is what Patina Miller posted on Instagram just yesterday. She's on demon time, and she's also backed up by Lou. She echoed the same words which she spoke in Season 2, Episode 1.
Family. Us. I know we got our differences. And we disagree sometimes. But at the end of the day, we blood.
And like she said in the trailer for episode 9, they don't need to beat them, they just need to make the Italians bleed. But Sal also wants blood, so this shit will only go back and forth. What also complicates things is how Unique managed to find himself right in the middle, and he's the one to keep an eye on, because he's definitely no rat, so I don't think he's gonna give up Marvin, but how long will he be working under Rock? Now there's also Jukebox's story, Detective Beck, and how it seems to have found God and a new faith. But we're gonna run through all the exclusive clips, images, as well as breaking down all the key storylines for episode 9. But let's just remind ourselves of the synopsis. Now the title of episode 9 is Antitrust, and the synopsis reads: with his living situation threatened, a desperate Famous reaches out to Lou as a last-ditch effort to make ends meet. Rock receives a new business proposal and must eliminate a threat. We're gonna have Detective Burke close in on what really happened at Baisley Park when an unexpected and potentially unreliable witness comes forward with new information, while Marvin and Jukebox mend fences. Now let's start with the first part of the synopsis, which surrounds Famous, because this was a topic I covered in one of my breakdowns this week. Famous is someone who's not exactly in a great place. He's pretty much lost everything since he was kicked out by his mom in episode 2, and he was only handed a brief lifeline by Crown, who now happens to be dead, but a problem which Lou may have coming through bulletproof records after they found his corpse. But Famous is also after Lou's help. Whether he gets it is yet to be seen, but maybe that's why he's knocking on Corinne and Palomar's door. Maybe he's trying everything he can to save his apartment. But we're also going to see Famous and Kanan at Girardi's, and they're going to come across none other than Freddy. Now Freddy was a kid Kanan beat the brakes off, and so I'm sure he's learned his lesson after last time. But let's see if any words are exchanged or how Freddy reacts to seeing Kanan, because Kanan needs to start creating his own name in the streets. The distance between Rock and Kanan is just getting bigger and bigger, and eventually he's going to start doing his own thing, which I wouldn't be surprised if it happened by episode 10. But even though Rock does miss Kanan, she doesn't show any sign of regret.
When you gotta make life or death decisions for your child, you alone. Ain't nowhere to turn. Ain't nobody there to tell you what to do, so you do what you think is right.
But it is her life or death decisions that she's made which has pushed Kanan away, and ironically this has pushed Kanan further in the direction of Detective Howard, who himself seems to have taken a different direction himself. He mentioned to Beck in episode 1 this was his chance to do things differently, especially after he saw his life flash before his eyes, and now it seems like he's turned to God and a new faith. But let's see how this relationship develops, because a lot of this shit is changing for Kanan, and we still have to remember he is still a kid. Even though he has made a few grown man decisions, he's only 16. Now Detective Beck is someone who's always poking her nose in business she shouldn't be. In episode 8, she was warned by Captain Baptiste to drop this shit, but we all know Beck better than that. There's no way she's gonna drop this case, not after the headway she made in episode 7, finding out that Rock was potentially Howard's CI when she was 16, and now she's gonna come across a new witness that has new information.
Ain't no shorts. Ain't no return.
Lurking around the corner was Sam the crackhead after Kanan shot Howard at Baisley Park, and it does seem like he's the unreliable witness, because he's a crackhead, and as law enforcement, you can't exactly take a crackhead's word, but what it will do is gonna put Beck on the right path, a path which will either get her killed, fired, or suspended. But could Detective Beck be thrown a lifeline? Over the past few weeks, I've made heavy reference to how Duke still owes Beck a favor, and it might just be time to call it even.
Conducting your own personal investigation into Malcolm Howard is the exact opposite of keeping your head down, Detective Burke.
Again, something I made reference to this week was how we saw James Bingham probably convinced by Howard that Beck was supplying drugs to young girls, and maybe James wants Duke to collaborate the story because I'm sure he wants justice for Nicole. But what will Duke say? Will she dime Beck out? Will she throw them different version of events? Will she tell them the truth? Because it did seem like she was about to in episode 7, but we're slowly witnessing a different side of Jukebox thanks to Kenya. So let's see how Duke handles this situation with James. Now, one of the key elements when it comes to Rock in season 2 is her expansion. Ever since the beginning, she's been wanting to expand into the 40s, then Jersey, and now she's got her eyes set on Cartier's operation in DC and Baltimore. And in episode 7, she put the wheels in motion with Tremont, something which she followed up in episode 8 by helping Abraham out of a cell. And so her trusted lawyer seems to have done the job for Rock, the same lawyer who helped Marvin in episode 1. But she needs to eliminate a threat herself, and it goes back around to maybe this: who does Rock have to eliminate? We don't know exactly, but one person who I do think has a high chance of being eliminated is Jimmy. Jimmy sure does look like he's enjoying himself, but this drink may be his last. He was warned by Sal in episode 7, he fucked up at the Catskills, where he didn't kill Rock, and he asked for a second chance, a chance which he did get, but fucked up yet again, because Marvin is definitely alive. And so do we think he's gonna be as lucky in episode 9? I don't think so, because not only did he fail to get shit done for Sal, Rock also wants blood and some form of payback, and will Lou get this shit done? He's wanted out of the game ever since he shot D-Wiz, but we can never question his loyalty when it comes to being there for his family, and so I think he's gonna be there for Marvin, just like Marvin was there for him in season 1. But elsewhere, from the synopsis, it does seem like Marvin and Duke will start to mend their relationship, and so we're gonna see them finally sit down and have that talk, a talk which is definitely well overdue, and I'm glad they're finally heading in that direction. But we all know Power, they love to build this shit up only to rip it away, and this is what I fear when it comes to the relationship between Marvin and Duke. But it definitely is a story for another season, because Marvin will definitely make it out of season 2 alive. Now, another element we need to bear in mind is Scrappy's mom and Cran's corpse, two additional dilemmas for Lou and Rock. But that's a preview of episode 9 based on the exclusive images, clips, and the events that have played out across season 2. And so I'm expecting a few twists and turns, but more so a build up to the season finale. But as I mentioned earlier in the week, Sal wants blood and so does Scrappy's mom. So will the streets get a body? I think so. The question is, who? So drop all your predictions down below on all things episode 9. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.